Yo, 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 what's going on? It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. Peace and blessings, everybody. And I just want to come and do something different, a little different. It's gonna be like an extensive video. And as the title says, is DOGE stealing or saving your money? Before we get into it, let's do the countdown. All right. We back, Voices for the Voiceless. And check this out, man. I just want to go ahead and give y'all, man, all our supporters, some love from Voices for the Voiceless to y'all, keeping us afloat with all the support. It's been overwhelming. Appreciate it. We're trying to step it up a notch. Keep the commentary rolling. So we appreciate y'all. But yeah, so like I said, Doge has been getting a lot of flack. As you know, Elon Musk and his team have been shaking down the government from day one since January 20th, when the Trump administration has got into office. And he's been finding wasteful spending, fraud, and abuse left and right, from the hundreds of millions to the trillions of dollars that our tax dollars are going to fund frivolous and insane just waste. You know what I'm saying? In other countries, which a lot of people would consider it being money laundering. And we've been hearing all this talk about Doge, and these supposed to be some naive 20-year-olds that have access to our information, college students. But check this out. From what I see like a group of grown men, well-to-do men that have a lot of influence and power in the game, that have been a lot of people been spewing this rhetoric about who are these people in those, who is the team. And I have right here an interview on Fox News, and spread and make sure you let your people know, because this has a lot to do, with your social security benefits. It has a lot to do with your Medicare, Medicaid. They're gonna answer a lot of questions right here on Fox News. Shout out to the interviewer, Brent Bear, and this is Elon Musk and his team Doge. I don't know if y'all even knew they did a live interview on Fox, but let's get into it.
Thanks for having us and doing this. I know there's a lot of interest in this. First, let me start with you, Elon. What are the budgetary savings goals, and how much do you think you've achieved so far?
Our goal is to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion. From a nominal deficit of $2 trillion to try to cut the deficit in half to $1 trillion, or looked at it in total federal spending to drop the federal spending from $7 trillion to $6 trillion. We want to reduce the spending by eliminating waste and fraud, reduce the spending by 15%, which seems really quite achievable. The government is not efficient, and there's a lot of waste and fraud. So we feel confident that a 15% reduction can be done without affecting any of the critical government services.
I'm going to talk to all the guys.
If not making it better.
I'm going to talk to all the guys here about the specifics. But for you, what's the most astonishing thing you've found out in this process?
Now, do these guys look like they some teenagers, or like they some kids? These are some wealthy billionaires. One of these guys is the inventor, the founder of the Airbnbs. You know what I'm saying? See, these some serious dudes that got the credentials to back them up. Let's continue.
The sheer amount of waste and fraud in the government. It is astonishing. It's mind-blowing. We routinely encounter wastes of $1 billion or more, casually.
Wow, $1 billion or more, casually. Like they just went in. It's like nobody has people. A lot of politicians have been talking about going in, you know, and shaking down the government and talking about, oh yeah, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. But at the end of the day, nobody really has done it. And Elon Musk and his team DOGE really took the time to actually do it. And you're gonna be astonished. You're gonna be astonished by the things that they are going to say in this interview that they found. Let's continue.
For example, like the simple survey that was literally 10-question survey that you could do with SurveyMonkey, cost you about $10,000. The government was being charged almost $1 billion for that.
For just the survey?
$1 billion for a simple online survey. Do you like the national?
$1 billion for an online survey. Now they've been blowing up this man Tesla dealerships, blowing up the charging stations, scratching and vandalizing Teslas, just driving down the street, and all he doing is finding ridiculous spending from your government. That's your dollars. That's affecting all this stuff y'all saying he trying to cut out. Medicaid, Social Security, all that stuff is affected. Now, when he's cutting this stuff off, him and those guys, that opens up more money for your Social Security. Y'all owe this man an apology, man. Y'all owe Elon Musk an apology, man. For real.
National park. And then there appeared to be no feedback loop for what would be done with that survey. So the survey would just go into nothing. It was like insane. You
technically are a special government employee, and you're supposed to be 130 days. Are you going to continue past that, or do you think that's what you're going to do? Or? Well, I think we will have accomplished most of the work required to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion within that time frame. So in that time frame, 130 yes. days. And the process is a report at some point at 100 days? Or? Not really a report. We are cutting the waste and fraud in real time. So every day that passes, our goal is to reduce the waste and fraud by $4 billion a day, every day, 7 days a week. And so far, we are succeeding. And I'm going to talk to the specifics, but there obviously are DOGE critics who are reading all kinds of stuff. Obviously, lawmakers on the other side of the aisle are attacking you, and they characterize the approach as this: fire, ready, and then aim. And how do you approach that? How do you respond to that? Well, I do agree that we actually want to be careful in the cuts. So we want to measure twice, if not thrice, and cut once. Actually, that is our approach. They may characterize it as shooting from the hip, but it is anything but that. Which is not to say that we don't make mistakes. If we were to approach this with the standard of making no mistakes at all, that would be like saying someone in baseball's got to bat 1,000.
My bad, I was muted. My bad. I wanted to highlight that right there because he did admit that he made mistakes, right? Because people running around talking about he did this, he did that. At the end of the day, if he makes a mistake, he got a website that they could go back and retract their steps. Anybody can go in there and look at everything that they're doing. So I'm glad that he was honest enough to admit that. Yeah, we're going to make some mistakes, but we human. We're going to clear it up. So, I mean, that's transparency at its finest. You know, I just wanted to point that out. Just highlight that. They're going to make some mistakes, but hey, I appreciate what they're doing. Every American citizen should appreciate this. This is going to open up more money for your Medicaid, your Medicare, and your Social Security.
That's impossible. So when we do make mistakes, we correct them quickly, and we move on.
Some people say this shouldn't take a rocket scientist. Steve Davis, you are a rocket scientist.
Used to be.
Yeah, and now essentially you're the chief operating officer of DOGE, day-to-day operations. Fair to say?
Yeah, part of the DOGE team.
So how did you end up here? What's the biggest challenge you see?
The reason I'm here, which is probably for many, is that I think the goal is incredibly inspiring. I think most of the taxpayers in the country would agree that in order to have the country going bankrupt would be a very bad thing, and therefore the country going not bankrupt is a good thing. That all of us are willing to kind of put our lives on hold in order to do. I think the thing that's special right now is we actually believe there's a chance to succeed, that there's an administration that's supportive and a great cabinet and just a great group that will actually make success a possible outcome. And I think
so. This guy just said we got an administration that's supportive right now, and a cabinet that's behind us, that's giving them. The Trump administration is giving them the green light that they wouldn't have got with a different administration. You know, I suggest that they probably been wanted to do something like this. See, a lot of this stuff that how our systems operate is outdated. You know, we didn't elevate it so much into technology wise, where a lot of this stuff is still that they keep records of our stuff and still resembles what they used to do in the 1940s and 50s. It needs to be updated, just like an app on your phone. When that app software gets old, you got to update it, or it's not going to be sufficient enough to keep up. But the other administrations didn't want to do the work. They were lazy. These guys want to do the work. Let them work. You know what I mean? Nobody want to go in. They just like, oh, just throw money. They just throwing money at the problem, kicking the can down the road. We can't operate off the same system that we did in 1952. We got to update this thing. And people that's eager, that want to fix it and update it and upgrade it, man, let them do it.
I think that's, given the inspiring mission and given the non-zero chance of success, it was worth doing.
I'd just like to sort of reemphasize that point. The success of DOGE is only possible with President Trump and with the outstanding cabinet that he selected. It would be impossible without the support of the president and the cabinet.
But you're finding the money. I mean, it's big numbers, right?
Yeah, like Elon said, the minimum impulse bid is often $1 billion. So for example, the $830 million, which was the online survey, that's an enormous amount of money. That wouldn't have been found if the DOGE team wasn't working with it, in that case, the Department of Interior, but then
Man, the man just said $830 million or something like that. But, I mean, God, they found it so much money that just going, oh, my God. Negligence and fraud.
taking it one step further, DOGE then publishes these things on our website for maximum transparency. So now the general public, it would have been impossible for the general public to have seen that.
And that was smart. You heard what he said? We put it on the website for maximum transparency. So you goofy ass people don't have nothing to say about it. You want to know what's going on? Take your goofy ass down there to the website and look up for yourself. Instead of doing all this boo-hoo crying about what you ain't even doing your own research about. Okay?
Now anyone can just log into doge.gov anytime and see these payments. As they're not yet in real time, they're close, but they'll probably be in real time within the next few weeks.
But the process, it still involves Congress, right? At some level?
We try to keep Congress as informed as possible, but the law does say that money needs to be spent correctly, it should not be spent fraudulently or wastefully. It's not contrary to Congress to avoid waste and fraud. It is consistent with the law and consistent with Congress. And we've seen actually great support, at least from the Republican side of the House, and occasionally some Democrats too. It's nice to see people cross the aisle once in a while. Usually when they attack DOGE, they never attack any of the specifics. So they'll say what we're doing is somehow unconstitutional or legal or whatever. We're like, well, which line of the cost savings do you disagree with? And they can't point to any. And we list them all on doge.gov and the Doge handle on X. And you'll see just outrageous things, one outrageous thing after another.
Joe Gabbia.
Now, they can't even get specific on what they got a problem about. That's what they always do. They come up with a broad, crazy, just, it's unconstitutional. What's unconstitutional? He's been assigned a position to find out wasteful spending. We are in a terrible economic situation in this country. It is inconceivable how much debt we're in, especially after the last administration. Like, we was already like trying to climb out some stuff, but that Biden-Harris administration put us in the tanks. We need a massive change immediately. And that's what these people doing.
Besides Elon, you're one of several billionaires here, co-founder of Airbnb, and you wanted to help out.
Co-founder of Airbnb. I hope they do not try attacking this man business like they did Tesla, man.
I bumped into Anthony and Elon probably back in February, and they told me something about a mine that was dealt with retirement, and they said they needed somebody to help out to fix retirement in the government. I love the challenge, so I jumped on board, and it turns out there is a mine in Pennsylvania that houses every paper document for the retirement process.
Look how crazy this is. This been here since the 1950s. We need to update this shit. Look at this. Who finna go through all this? This is your retirement plan in a nutshell, in a cave in Pennsylvania. Don't we got computers now? Don't we got something with like a chip you could put in the computer and bring up gigabytes and all that? Why is this even existing anymore? Look at this insanity. That's why people able to just come in and do all this fraud and steal, because we operating off of an ancient system that is in a cave somewhere. That's your retirement plan in that cave. In one of them bookshelves, like you walking through an everlasting library.
In the government. Now picture this. This giant cave has 22,000 filing cabinets, stacked 10 high to house 400 million pieces of paper. It's a process that started in the 1950s and largely hasn't changed in the last 70 years. And so as you dug into it, we found retirement cases that had so much paper, they had to fit it on a shipping pallet. So the process takes many months, and we're going to make it just many days.
Will it be digitized or how?
Absolutely. So this will be an online digital process that will take just a few days at most. And I really think, it's an injustice to civil servants who are subjected to these processes that are older than the age of half the people watching your show tonight. So we really believe that the government can have an Apple Store-like experience, beautifully designed, great user experience, modern systems.
Because right now it's.
Now, this man basically just said, like, look, man, we can fix this and whip it into shape like that. All this information, all these bookshelves, we can shake all this down, minimize all this space, get y'all stuff up out this cave, put it on a computer, send out some debit cards. People on Social Security, you know, we can modernize this system. It's no reason that we should even be operating in a cave, out of cave from 1950 something, 70 years old. You know, these are billionaires, a team of billionaires. They was running around talking about this man got some 20-year-olds in DOGE. Got the founder of Airbnb, man. Come on, man. Quit playing. I'm rolling with Elon on this, man. And I'm gonna be, I feel bad because I was giving Elon a bad rap at one point. But he around here saving astronauts that been stuck in space for almost a year, getting them back home, parking rockets in the Gulf of America. Man, salute to Elon, man. Man, you know what? Hold on. Let me go back.
And I'll give you one example is at Social Security, one of the first things we learned is that they get phone calls every day of people trying to change direct deposit information. So when you want to change your bank account, you can call Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40.
Whoa! Look at Brent Bear's face. He couldn't even believe that. Look at that man's face. Like 40% of the people calling in are committing fraud. It's easy when you got a whole library in the cave and the people over the phone, they don't know what to tell them. Ain't nobody walking in that dang on cave, finding no going and looking for no files. Who won in there? Probably got cobwebs all up and through that cave, man. 40% of the people that call in are fraud. They shaking down the phone calls in there. Now, each one of these men are billionaires. I'm pretty sure they got each one of them got a team of at least 10 to 20 people that's highly intelligent. So you got a whole operation that can go in there, shake that thing down, and modernize it and whip it into an even better, efficient shape than it's ever been. But you got 40% of people calling in. What happened when they call in? Let's see.
40%.
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day, and then
wow, hold fast, bro. They call in, act like they a retiree. That's where it's like people that's 150 to 350 years old. People don't even live that long receiving Social Security checks because people calling in. And the people on the phone that's answering the phone, either they complicit or they just lazy. Like, oh, yeah, okay, this who? Woo, woo, woo. All right, man, send the payment. Okay, yeah, we got you on. You're going to get this amount every 2 weeks. I see the play. And they caught it. That's money that could be, all that money that's going to them people that ain't even alive no more. Bring all that back. Split that up amongst the real American citizens for our retirement, because we worked for that. We paid taxes for that. How could you have a problem with this man? How could you have a problem with Tesla? How could you have a problem with his team? Y'all tweaking, man.
And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
How do you reassure people that what you all are doing is not going to affect their benefits?
No, in fact, what we're doing will help their benefits. Legitimate people, as a result of the work of DOGE, will receive more Social Security, not less.
Didn't I just say that? You're going to receive more, not less. I just said that. Simple mathematics. If you stopping all this extra spending going out. We got more room for people to get more money because it's less going out. Like, oh, well, shoot, we just cut off $1 trillion of BS. We could get that right back into Social Security. Now you look up, instead of getting $1,300, you might get $1,800. You know what I'm saying? We can split it up however. Who knows? As much as they find it, you might get an extra $1,000 on your check. You know what I'm saying? Hey, pray for the best on that. I'm just saying, like I said, they ain't doing nothing but making sure the American people get the most bang for their buck, man.
I want to emphasize that. As a result of the work of DOGE, legitimate recipients of Social Security will receive more money, not less money.
All right.
I want to emphasize that point and let the record show that I said this, and it will be proven out to be true. Let's check back on this in the future.
So Washington Post, the Social Security Administration website crashed 4 times in 10 days this month because the servers were overloaded, blocking millions of retirees and disabled veterans from logging into their online accounts. Freaked people out. Is that going to change?
Yes, we're going to make sure that the website stays online.
Yeah. I mean, but is it a result of going in there or something you're doing?
No. The amount of issues that were with the Social Security system are enormous. As an example, there are over 15 million people that are over the age of 120 that are marked as alive in the Social Security system.
You hear that? All them people over 120 getting money every month, getting money. And y'all burning up this man businesses, wiping all type of crazy stuff on, the back of Teslas, spray painting it and all that. Man, I don't know, man. Something wrong with America, man. If we listen to the stupidest, when all you got to do is just listen and tune in. I'm not gonna play this whole thing, man. I just want to give y'all a brief, you know what I'm saying, take on that, because we coming up on 30 minutes, 28. But long story short, and if you want to check the full breakdown, go to Fox News. That interview just came out today. But this is a blessing what this man is doing and what his team is doing. They are sacrificing a lot. And later on in that interview, I saw a little bit earlier, he said, man, are you doing this because you're a patriot? Or you doing this because, you doing this? Why? Because y'all don't need y'all billionaires. Is you doing it because it's something that, is a hobby for you? They said, man, one man said, man, I'm doing this for my children and my grandchildren because they got to inherit it. If we don't clear up this debt, it's going to fall on the shoulders of our children. You know what I mean? They going to be stuck with it. So if we don't deal with it, they going to have to bear the brunt of what we could have fixed. And that's what it's all about. That's what patriotism at the end of the day is all about. For you people to be out there talk about you stand with other countries, saying that you with Ukraine and you stand with China, your children and their children and their children most likely are going to inherit this country right here. So we need to put America first. America first. MAGA, make America great again. I agree with that. Go back to a time where we didn't have all this taxation in America. Do some history on that. That's what they talking about. When we were the most powerful, most wealthiest country in the world. Our level of education was top tier. Now we number 30 or something like that. But yeah, it's your boy Jay Taylor. Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. Until next time, we'll speak to you soon. Peace and blessings.